In this video, the dove picks a fight with a magpie, a couple of Bluetits come for a bath, winter arrives in the wood, the magpies gang up on a pigeon, and two blackbirds get into a fight. Hello everybody. Out there, it's Storm Chandra, and I have no intention of going out there to do a video intro, so I'm in the sunroom where it's nice and warm and dry. This video is January weeks 1 and 2 of what's in the wood in January. So here we go with the first captures. Over early January, there were less nighttime captures on the Trailcam, probably due to the cold, wet and stormy weather that we've had. However, the number of captures have been going up due to increased activity at dawn and dusk. I've gradually been reducing the daylight capture times to lower the number of captures, but I think I'm going to have to be more selective about what I include, as the videos are getting too long and taking days to compile. I've been trying to catch all the activity for 24 hours on the 31st of December and the first 24 hours of 2026, but this resulted in the camera going flat around dawn. I only realised when I went out to download the overnight captures. I put the solar panel battery on charge, which got the camera running again, while the camera's own internal batteries were brought indoors to charge. I'm going to talk less on this video, unless there's something of note that I want to comment on, so I'll just leave you to watch the birds and the animals mostly in peace. Just before 11 AM, the camera caught the first of the fights. This was a dove having a go at a magpie. This is a magpie that has a limp. After chasing the magpie off twice, the dove left, allowing a couple of Bluetits to drop into the pond. They were followed by several small garden birds. The last capture of January the 1st was a magpie at 1:23, and strangely there were no more captures that day. Low overnight temperatures meant that the pond was partially frozen the next morning. I broke up the ice and it melted enough for a blackbird to have a bath around 12:30 that afternoon. Soon after, the dove was at it again, chasing off another dove. The Bluetits were back mid-afternoon, and half an hour later a blackbird ended the captures for the day. That night winter arrived, temperatures fell well below freezing, and the woodland was covered in a light dusting of snow. The pond had frozen over again, and snow settled on the ice. Very few birds were out on the 3rd. I videoed a dunnock on my phone while I was putting some seed out, and the Trailcam made just one capture. Nothing visited overnight until a blackbird in the pre-dawn light. There were a number of birds that came to the garden across the day, either feeding from the feeder or from the seed that I'd scattered on the ground. Once again, there were no nighttime visitors. It was -3 degrees at dawn that morning, with the pond frozen solid. The magpies were going for the fat balls in the feeder, which in turn scattered other seed across the ground which the other birds took. Just before 10 a.m, the dove was at it again, chasing off a blackbird. A robin came for a drink, but I think failed to break through the ice. At 10:30, a chaffinch came to visit. The visits have been increasing recently for this bird. At noon, there was a standoff for food, with two magpies trying to force a pigeon to leave a pile of food that it was guarding. After much pecking and flapping, the pigeon stood back and the magpie got some seed. By this time, the temperature had also risen and the pond melted, allowing birds to have a drink again. Two blackbirds were the last visitors of January the 5th. Just before 2 a.m, both jellybean and wascally made an appearance in the wood in -5 degree temperatures. This was their last sighting by the camera. As I write this on February the 1st, they've not been back. A Facebook page for the next village over mentioned lots of dead rabbits lying around, and the posters thought there may have been an outbreak of myxomatosis. Time will tell whether jellybean and wascally survived or not. The last bird visits was just before 1 p.m. Early evening, Speedy the mouse turned up. Speedy was back at 4:45 on the 7th and made a few visits over the next few minutes. Just before 9 AM, the dove was chasing magpies again. There were several bird visits across the day, including blackbirds, magpies, doves, bluetits, tree sparrows, pigeons, and ending with the blackbird at 4 PM. There was nothing else until Speedy came back at 35 minutes past midnight. After a break of several hours, Speedy was back in the pre-dawn light. Feathers were flying again at 7:52 AM, but this time it was a male and female blackbird around the pond in the juniper bush. The Bluetit checked out the Trailcam at 12:30. The day ended with Speedy and Danger Mouse both out in the wood at 11 PM. They were both back out again between 1 AM and 1:30. The mice were long gone by the time Bandit the cat came through at 3:23, and by dawn it was misty when the Blackbird arrived. More tree sparrows were seen at 12:20. I was out downloading the camera when a surprise group of about 7 long-tailed tits started to swarm around the trees and the feeder. They kept hiding behind the back of the feeder, but I managed to catch a few of them on my phone. There was nothing overnight until Speedy was seen at 6:30 on the 10th. Then it was back to the birds in the pre-dawn light. There was more snow overnight from the 10th to the 11th, and it was the magpies who were first to be seen that morning. A lot of rain followed, and with strong winds, it limited the number of birds out and about. Speedy was the first visitor of the 12th, coming for seed just after 4 a.m. He made a number of visits over the next few hours. The wind speed had dropped, but there weren't many visitors across the 12th. Speedy was once more the first visitor of the day to start off the 13th. There was still plenty of seed on the ground for a mouse. Milder temperatures and less wind resulted in more bird visits across the 13th. In the early evening, soon after the camera had switched to infrared mode, Speedy was back at the wood, starting soon after 5 p.m. He was back again just before 7 p.m. Bandit the cat came to chill out in the wood for a while at 9 p.m. and moved on after about 10 minutes, ending the captures for the 13th. Speedy was back again at 2 a.m. on the 14th, but was the only overnight visitor. The doves were still fighting, this time with each other. It was a much warmer day, and so there were many more visitors looking for food. A magpie at the feeder just before 1 p.m. was the last action for the 14th. There were no other visitors that day. Thanks for watching. Do consider giving me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.